Preparing a police officer to walk in the rear and at the front are fundamentally different things.
Serhiy Zinyavskait, Kolsyn Yoda, 41 years old, commander of the Special Purpose Police Battalion Streletsky.
Previously, we didn't have armored fighting vehicles, automatic grenade launchers, mortars, strike drones, kamikaze drones, or reconnaissance drones. Ordinary investigators, operatives, community police officers, security police. We had not been assault troops, nor FIV drivers, nor grenadiers, but in the shortest time they became real warriors. Most of you have probably seen the video with our police officers in Toretsk before, but back then we didn't show you everything.
Ready the grenade. Knees!
Service in a special unit takes an enormous amount of time. It often takes away the time you ought to spend with your family. I always clearly understand that I am where I'm meant to be.
Riddick, Riddick, Riddick.
I'm on the line, Riddick, on the line!
Riddick, what's the situation? Riddick, the situation.
We're working. Don't interfere.
There is no way back anymore. Reverse gear won't engage. We've always said the reverse is welded shut. So our road was only forward, we knew it, and that's how, thank God, we made it through.
Because this is our state, our country, our land that we defend. This is our responsibility. You understand the tasks that will be assigned to you, which you must carry out. But there's only one task here. You have to survive and kill the enemy. That's all.
This move to Depot Point was important because from this building we controlled the road, which provided access to the rest of our positions located in the center of the city of Toretsk. The road was constantly being mined and anti-tank barriers were set up to block movement. We had to deploy additional FPV drones and strike drones to clear the road remotely so that our armored fighting vehicles could rotate at the positions, deliver ammunition, bring supplies, bring water to the guys and evacuate the wounded.
Yevgeny Kolsyn Riddick, 37 years old, head of one of the departments of the Special Purpose Police Regiment KORD Streletsky.
We received the order, got our weapons and ammunition and moved out. Perhaps it was the will of higher powers. A fog had already descended and we could use it to shield ourselves from drones. We had a chance to slip through there intact. With armored support, my group was dropped off. the military tried to retake this position, they failed. Then one of our assault groups made an attempt. They also failed. They were blocked on the territory of this motor depot. And our task was to go in with the support of armored vehicles and clear the building to retrieve our wounded and dead and take them out to unblock and clear this area, which was successfully done.
The first floor was ours. We consolidated one KIA. We found a KIA. We found a KIA, one of ours.
My group then took 4 men prisoner.
Come out! I gave you an officer's word! Come out, come on!
Come out.
Prepare to receive them! Crawl over here! On your knees, scum! On your knees! Lie down, that's it!
The 5th main one, it seems his call sign was Beard. For half a year he had been terrorizing the town of Turets. Yeah, they planted mines on the roads and everything else. He refused to surrender. Well, he refused, and that's on his conscience.
It's burning, burning, burning!
During the assault, when we took prisoners, radio station, we were preparing the prisoners for evacuation, primarily because among them was one Wagner fighter who was of great interest to our counterintelligence. Here, you could say we were lucky.
It was found, it was turned on, it was charged.
It was charged to the maximum. And we called them. We could hear and fully monitor the radio traffic, what they were planning and hearing among themselves. We were already waiting for the first vehicle with the wounded and the prisoners. And by the way, there was this driver behind us. His call sign was Morda. I said to him, Morda, will you come for us? He said, half an hour, guys. Well, that's it. He left. On my radio, I heard that Morda was already saying that he was at point 1 and ready to depart. And from point 1 to our motor depot, it's not far, about 10 to 12 kilometers. A command came from the command post. As it seemed to me then, all the responsibility is on you. The sky was no longer ours, but you can keep working. And he made the decision to go for us. He didn't even manage to turn out the first time because he was driving with night vision equipment. And when a mine exploded, his device either fled or blinded him. He couldn't see well. Well, we corrected him. He drove under the canopy. We loaded up and you could say safely drove out on one wheel. I don't know how he managed to keep the armored fighting vehicle on the road when we had only the right front wheel intact, basically on the rims. And then he still maintained a fairly high speed, so about 30 to 40 kilometers per hour, and he got us out. We entered the city of Toretsk in June, about mid-month. The task set before us was clearing and assault.
When we were in Toretsk, we were to go to an observation post and relieve our guys. Where are we? We were in the 3rd entrance, and in the 1st and 2nd entrances, the enemies were already there.
Vadim Sinchuk, call sign Milfar, 35 years old, and Ole Dmitrishin, call sign Buhai, 33 years old. Both are inspectors of the Special Operations Battalion INEI, of the Special Purpose Department, United Assault Brigade of the National Police, Lyut.
The task was to just neutralize them. We tried to storm, push them back a bit. They were sitting in the first stairwell. After that, we decided to use anti-tank mines, which we call goodies. That is, we made bundles and threw them at the enemy to neutralize them. As a result, the building was blown up, which neutralized the enemy.
Why goodies? Treats.
Well, when you go on the radio, we are not going to say what we are carrying, where we are carrying it, or what we have to do. Everything goes by call signs, by numbers, so that the enemy does not find out anything. Because everything is being intercepted, just as they listen to us, we listen to them. So we understand perfectly that they know that we are there. Therefore, it was very difficult with them because there were also guys there who knew how to fight. But they didn't succeed. We neutralized them anyway. We held the possession to the very end, as long as we could. We had few men. We had 4 men for an entire 5-story building. And at dawn, I heard something rustling behind. Well, not at dawn. It was already dark. I looked to the other side of the building, and from that side, the enemy is already jumping into our first floor. And before that, we just had no choice. On the radio, they say, guys, jump from the 2nd floor. And in full gear, it is unreal to jump. Yeah, you'll break your spine, especially since there could be anything underfoot. Stones, slate, glass, anything. There you can hear everything, especially at night. It's not like in a peaceful city where it's noisy and cars are driving. There it's dead silent. We had a group of 4 men. We began to withdraw. Behind the band, one was already waiting for us. We killed him. Then we killed another. And when we were moving to an alternate observation point, to a zone where we could wait and then move on, we were just jumping into this first entrance. I was the first to go in with an automatic rifle. And from the entrance, there was a shout. Guys, come in, friendly. Also, already adding in Russian. Who is friendly? I don't remember now. He said the 92 Brigade or whichever. I said, oh, brother, wait a second. And we started firing 3 barrels in there. And at that moment, something flew at us as well. I was standing and something landed half a meter away from me. It shattered my comrade's hand. So we pulled him in and began to bandage him. It was very difficult. And by that point, we took up an observation point there, and our battle continued. We held the position to the last. Around dawn, they came over the radio and said that we had to relocate. A vehicle was coming for us, so the guys could replace us. When dawn broke and we started to leave, they began firing at us with mortars, and as always, FPV drones. But thank God the Lord protected us. So the guys arrived, some got out. We loaded up and finally left. But at that moment, when they were on the first floor, on the second, and you didn't know where to put yourself, it's very hard, believe me. There are guys who can't handle it, and you have to keep an eye on all this because it's very hard. Well, that's one of the stories.
We had 6 men from the platoon who were drivers.
7.
Or 7, yes.
And they told us to choose partners. So it happened that I called Bodya and said, Bodya, are we going to be together or not? Bodya said, of course. So we continued to go out together.
Bogdan Rubansky, call sign Rubik, 35 years old, and Mykola Bachok, call sign Tatar, 36 years old. Both are inspectors of the Special Purpose Police Battalion Streletsky.
We drove into Turецк itself. What is that? It seems that it was my first mission. We were picking up a seriously wounded 300. Then we actually drove the armored vehicle out on only 2 wheels. When we were coming back from Turецк, it was basically lucky if 3 wheels remained. Otherwise, mostly without 2. Once we drove out, that was with Kolya during the day on the cover of weather. We went in there twice then. And the first trip was successful. We went in and came back. The wheels were even intact. But when we went in the second time and came back out, we were without 2 front wheels, it seems.
Imagine just one. What is one? 2.
What is this machine like?
What's there, darlings? Let me say hello.
Then most likely we ran over some spikes. Usually they drop at spikes from drones, big ones welded from pipes. So if wheeled vehicles run over them, all the tires are immediately punctured. They did everything to stop the vehicles, to prevent rotation or evacuation. And they also mined our roads.
I went out with a driver from the Kyiv KORD unit. We brought the guys in, we delivered them fine, unloaded. That is, on the way back we loaded the guys, and when we were returning along the same route, they ran out from both sides and started shooting with small arms. It was the first trip. Everyone was still on adrenaline, still didn't understand what was happening here at all.
And sparks started flying from the bullets.
You could really see it because I was the navigator.
Straight, 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 straight.
Hold on, straight, straight.
The bullets are flying. They also threw a grenade under the vehicle.
This was when we were leaving Turецк.
Then they threw a grenade at us, the tires were punctured, and we drove off with the front tires punctured. It seems without the front ones, yes.
Live and intact, yes, all of us.
So it was still very good that they didn't use a stronger weapon, because small arms against an armored vehicle is still more or less okay.
This was when Kolya and I were driving. We hit a mine near the first spoil heap.
It was our first joint trip on the approach to the city, literally just a few meters before the houses began.
We were about 10 meters short of the private sector. We hit a mine under the first spoil heap.
Movement stopped, the vehicle stalled, it could no longer be started. And the decision was made to continue on foot. So we are as a whole group, me, the driver, Bodya, the navigator, and 6 fighters of our comrades.
There was fog at that time.
Fog, yes.
At that time, drones weren't really flying. We, so to speak, got out without a fight. We walked about 3 kilometers across the field and came out onto the road.
And we were then picked up.
All trips were planned as much as possible according to the weather. It was very good if there was heavy snow, fog, rain.
Yes, if the rain was heavy, I never thought I would be happy about bad weather.
Rubik! Rubik! Давай на виход краще.
We had one time, right? Was it rain or wet snow?
It was wet snow. That's when we made 2 trips.
I also remember when we were driving, Bodia's windshield wipers stopped working, so I could at least see. Mine was wiping and cleaning, but Bodia said, I can't see the road. I don't know where to go.
Well, that's bad. I navigated mostly by GPS by then. At that moment, it was working. Everything was fine.
A trip was planned along a new route, as the previous routes were simply impossible. They were mined with tank mines.
Yes, it was the first time we drove this route. We laid it out with your call sign Cupid. I was the navigator and he was the driver. And with Yura, we are coming back to, he says there is no road here. I said, let's go, we'll make one now. And so we went, turned right and cut a road through these thickets.
That was the first time you went along this road because it was no longer possible to travel the previous routes. And this section of the road near the spoil heap, artillery fires on it there, if I'm not mistaken. It was a hot stretch of road. When we drove in there, we dropped it off of the guys and loaded 6 wounded, various degrees of injuries in the guys. And when we were coming back, we just don't know what hit us there. There was a hit in the front part of the vehicle. And the vehicle veered off. And that's it. We couldn't move forward or back. And we had to go on foot. And the guys had already started to run earlier. They understood. And I was still trying my best to pull out the armored vehicle because I was afraid to run out onto the street. Because I understand that drones are flying there now. It's scary because however you slice it, you're sitting in armor. There's some protection, relative protection, but it was no longer possible to move on in the vehicle. I remember running out of the vehicle. It was determined that home was in that direction, and we all ran in a line like goslings. And at that moment, an artillery shell comes at us directly at our crowd. The guys were, of course, badly wounded. I, too, fully protected in armor with headphones. I remember at that time it was somewhere near me because I was running among the first since I knew the route. And I remember it exploded behind me. That there was such a shock wave, you could feel it. And I remember our manager there saying that we were stretched out because we were running like a crowd, and drones started attacking us and began dropping things. I remember how I, together with the navigator and our comrade who was with us, ran out from the spoil heap onto the asphalt road. And a few meters in front of us on the left, the first drop landed. It didn't hit us. I thought, thank God, really. I seemed to exhale in relief. Then we ran a few more meters, and there is another one behind us, somewhere to the side, or behind another drop. And I hear shrapnel. Shrapnel broke through and cut into our bodies. But it's good there were no serious injuries.
The people I serve with and served with, they knew more about me than my wife. And I want to tell you why she is very jealous and because of this hates me. You have to perform combat work. You look at these people and you understand who will go with you to the end.
Don't get soft. Don't pay attention, old man. This is war.
Насправді там людей об'єднують самі прості. In fact, people there are united by simple truths. Friendship, support, self-sacrifice, the willingness to go with you to the end. Those are people who truly understand what's ahead of them, that they may not return from there, but they put on their gear, take up arms and go with you to carry out the mission.
For example, my comrade and I have served together for more than a year. We know each other. But when we came to Lyut, having been to some hotspots, you understand more that you have, for example, a person, a brother in arms, whom you can rely on. The friendship grows stronger, and you know that you don't just have a friend, you have a battle comrade.
Something like that.
Values simply change. That is, you understand that your back is covered, that at some moment they will run to you and help, like when we had contact, when one of us was killed and one wounded, and when I shout +2 for support, and the guys come running and support us with fire so we could retreat. That friendship means a lot. In these moments, we saved each other. If there were no cooperation, friendship, respect, then, you know, on alone in the field is not a warrior. So it remains so to this day.
And when you go there, you're confident in your comrade. If we're together, it's somehow calmer to go.
When I was going on rotation, my daughter, Olesia, she was 6 then, now already 7, gave me a bracelet she had made with her own hands. She gave me a bracelet. Whenever I settled the position, he always held it in my hands, looked at it and remembered that I was awaited at home and understood what I had to survive for here, what I had to go through all this for, and return home alive and unharmed. The bracelet exists, but unfortunately the string broke. It fell apart a bit, but at least the bracelet exists. It's at my home, and I returned it to Olesia, as I promised. The child does not want to let her father go, but I promised that I would return, that everything would be fine.
About the SMS to my mother, that was when the enemy came to our first floor. Adrenaline is pumping, your head is a mess, we're shooting back. And at that moment, my hand reached to take my phone and write my mother a message. Something where I'm already saying goodbye. I wrote that I love them all, respect them. I thank everyone, kiss and hug them. I wanted to send it already, but at that moment something switched in me and I hit the phone and we continued to engage the enemy. Well, thank God, as you can see, I am sitting here now and talking to you. It was hard to accept, so I couldn't even send that message, honestly. What stopped me was the thought that I still want to live, that I still want a family, children. Otherwise, all my life, I'm just running somewhere, shooting, fighting, and behind me, there are only my parents, and I'm an only child.
I have 2 little daughters growing up.
If we don't stop them there, they can go further and even come to us.
so that they won't see it, so that they won't know what war is. I want to finish all this as quickly as possible. My wife bought icons that I always carried with me. I have a breast pocket on my fleece jacket. The icon was always with me. I never took it out. And before going in, I'd put my hand on it and then go.
Likewise, the icon was always in my pocket. My wife gave it and 2 bracelets.
My third child, a son, was born on February 12th. 12 days before the war. And when he started walking, I was, it seems, on rotation on the Zaporizhia direction. My child is growing up. I've only seen him over video calls or just via videos my wife sends. I clearly understand why I am doing this. If I don't fight there, I'll have to fight here.
Everyone has different thoughts, but these are some inner convictions. First of all, I do not want to see here in Vinnytsia region or anywhere in Ukraine what I once saw when I worked in the main investigative department. We were documenting war crimes when the invading troops withdrew from Kyiv region. And what I documented, what I saw they do to children, to men, to elderly people, I won't allow that to happen, not just in Vinnytsia, but anywhere in Ukraine. Each of these drops in influenced my decision that when the Streletsky unit was created, I went to war.
Усвідомлюємо свою мрію, тоді на мить зірка згорає, кому під силу не моргне, кожен із нас має право на те прекрасне. Люблю, та Бог один нас прощаючи любить тільки трійцю. Ти душу Богу збережи, ти вірність честь державі посвяти.
Many people think that Vinnytsia and Vinnytsia region are a deep area for us, but the war is much closer than people think.
You have to sacrifice something and make this ultimate choice. I want to live too, but I understand that if not us, then our children will suffer. That's why we made this choice.
Vinnytsia is in the rear, but we are still fighting in the east to prevent the front from reaching our homes.
I want my children to live in a free, independent Ukraine.
I want the war to end and to return home.
That's why we went to fight, so that everything would end sooner. That is the dream.
I am frankly in awe not only of the fighters of my unit. Currently, I perform duties during a combat order while I am in Donbass. I serve as the first deputy commander of a consolidated unit. That is, I participate in organizing the work, directly commanding the battle of several such battalions like mine. I admire all those guys, no doubt. They move forward, they serve in places that are hard to even imagine. Seeing a guy sitting in position for a month at minus 25, minus 30, because it's hard to rotate him out since the enemy is all around 360 degrees. But after that, the fighter comes out, recovers, and is ready to serve again.
As of
Today, police officers are taking an active part in combat operations on the front line. As part of such units as Lyut, is part of the Strelecki units and as part of the KORD unit. But before that, they all perform police functions. And I will say that as of today, many tasks have been placed on the police. And at the same time, they serve shoulder to shoulder with armed forces, with units of the main intelligence directorate, with units of the National Guard on the front line. Unfortunately, with the start of the war, murders, robberies, serious bodily injuries, fraudulent acts, domestic violence and other crimes have not ceased. But today, we are holding the situation. So we have solved all the rape cases, all the robberies and all the assaults. We are constantly working with citizen reports. For understanding, in Vinnytsia region, we have 1,000 calls per day. Cases have become common when our employees, senior group members, themselves take grenades from offenders and neutralize them on their own. Incidents of our children running away have also become common. Constantly, every day, we put several units on alert to look for children. They search and do their job professionally. Because as of today, we have returned all children in Vinnytsia region home. We returned 99% of the children within a day. At the same time, there are many functions uncharacteristic of the police that we did not perform before. These trips to places where rocket or Shahid drone strikes hit. Together with employees of the Security Service of Ukraine, we document the crimes of the Russian Federation. This is the destruction of explosives that remain from rockets and Shahids. Our bomb technicians work on this. It is also work in repatriation. There, together with forensic medical experts, we make maximum efforts to identify our servicemen who gave their lives for our state. It is impossible to strengthen one security sector at the expense of another. The police must work. It must work professionally and must fulfill all the tasks entrusted to it. There are two elements we would like to convey with this film. The first is to really show society how our police fights, how heroically they fight and what our police officers go through. And the second is that society and the state cannot exist without the police. No one will handle the crimes that unfortunately today are committed on the territory of Ukraine except the police.